Back. So earlier we spoke to a South African stranded at an airport in Malaysia. Well, an initiative called Home Away from Home will assist South Africans in distress, it says, around the world due to the coronavirus lockdown travel restrictions. To tell us about the process that they need to follow, the number of requests they've received, I'm now joined via Skype by the Chairperson of the Home Away from Home Initiative, Darren Bergman. Darren, thank you very much. Tell us about this initiative and your specific efforts to help South Africans who are stranded come home.
Well, yes, thanks for having us. Basically, what happened is we started a few weeks ago, a few days ago, sorry. You can see we're all tired now. But when the confusion happened after the minister had announced the lockdown at the airport, and the airlines, like Qatar, British Airways and Emirates didn't fly that last day, we thought there'd be about 300 people stranded, and we decided to start a database of the people that were stranded. And within 4 days, we actually realized there were over 1,000 people stranded. It became a big campaign to actually try and get more than 1,000 people back home to South Africa.
And of course, South African citizens are welcome home, but the problem, like you say, is the flight. No flights allowed. How many are on your database right now? You say you're heading over 1,000. How many have come home? We know there's been a few small batches. How many still waiting?
Well, now we seem to have broken the 2,000 mark, funnily enough. And we're trying to now we've qualified it. You've said that for us, the qualification are people that have booked their tickets, and the people that have said that their ticket, the people that were booked to come back during the lockdown and before the lockdown. And those people are what the minister had pegged as 1,481 people. And those are the people that we're working towards as our target. From that, 16 people have already arrived home. The announcement this weekend to open all borders, well, not all borders, sorry, most borders into South Africa, bordering South Africa, I think that's going to help us a lot with people entering those borders this weekend. And I think that's going to help us.
Yeah. And for most of them, is it a better option to come home than stay where they are? Are many of them tourists there temporarily, etc.?
Well, remember, for us, people that are quarantined for 14 days, and I think one of the scariest parts has been what are the quarantine conditions? Some people are, the Doha people that arrived back, I think it was leaked that the conditions were terrible, and that they were staying in these 3x3s, that they never had plugs to plug in cell phones, had no Wi-Fi. And I think that scared a lot of people to ask questions as to what would be the quarantine conditions. So people coming through the borders now have to realize that they will be going into quarantine conditions. And I don't think that, that's not our, unfortunately for us, there's only so much we can do. And I think quarantine is beyond our scope of what we're prepared to do, what we're prepared to fight for.
Sure. We spoke to somebody stuck in Malaysia, and it sounded like he, through no fault of his own, had missed a series of flights because of airlines cutting those flights or airports not allowing the flights to happen. So this isn't people who just knew that there was a lockdown coming and didn't do anything about it and ignored the seriousness of the situation.
Well, you see, this is the other problem is that, look, I think airlines are in a horrible place right now, and I think the countries are in a horrible place right now, our own being one of them. And I can't point fingers at anyone, and we haven't pointed fingers at anyone. We've really said that this is a unique situation. But I do believe that we all have to play our part here. So where government has come to the party, I do believe that some airlines have to come to the party as well, and that they should be, where they should be honouring their tickets at some point. So let's say a cargo plane is coming into South Africa and they've got a few passenger seats available. They should really try and bring some of the passengers through while they can. 10 passengers coming through at a time, it might sound like nothing, but to those 10 passengers that are running out of money or running out of food or running out of medication, I promise you that makes a big difference.
Yeah. Tell us about some of the specific cases you know about. What are the most dire cases?
Well, sure. You know, we've seen a 5-year-old left under a condition where she's across the border. Her mother wants to get her back. She is in safe hands, but they both traumatically want to be reunited. We've got people running out of medication, chronic medication. We've got parents that were put in ICU overseas. We've got, you've got all these. There's horrible stories. There's a lady that sleeps in a field in Thailand with homeless people around her, and she's really left to her own devices. Our platform is a WhatsApp platform that actually caters for people to just feel like they're in a community, that they can speak to people around them, that they can get some love and support, that someone around them is listening to them and saying, look, we live 10 minutes away from you, or listen, come get a meal from us. Thailand's going to be going into a lockdown in the next few days, and we're trying to help them with shelter for now. But most importantly, we're going to try and push for the flights to take place. I think people have to understand that the embargo on flights coming in was only lifted only 2 days ago, and that these plans are only going to take days to happen. We've got people on our platforms already moaning and groaning as to why haven't the plans come through yet. And I understand it's been long for them. But we do ask everyone to just be patient with government. It is, it's something that we just have to work hard together to bring them back.
And finally, are you lobbying government on their behalf? And are the various South African ambassadors around the world doing their best to help these South Africans as well?
Look, we haven't had to lobby. We haven't had to lobby too hard because we've always supported the president on his call. We've always thought it a responsible call. We support any fight to keep the curve down. Our Minister of International Relations has been pretty much. We've been in communication with her. Our DIRCO has been the state identity of which we've placed our support in. And I think all of those have paid dividends for us. So for us, we haven't had to lobby hard. The announcements have come. All we've asked for has happened. I'm not saying it's happened because of us, but it's definitely going our way. So while it is, we don't have anything to fight for. And at this stage, we're helping. And I think at this stage, we're just trying to play our part. And we're just trying to be productive, I think, is the best way of putting it.
Why are you involved personally?
As a member of parliament, I feel like a custodian of the citizens. I feel like we have a responsibility to the citizens. When those people from the British Airways and Qatar and Emirates were reaching out to me, it was almost, as I tried to say a few times to some of the people, that it's almost like you're the custodians or the parents, and they the children, and the gates are closing, and the storm's coming. You can't leave your children outside the gates. They're your responsibility, and you'll do anything to bring them back in. And that's the empathy we have. So, I suppose it's called empathy and care.
All right, thank you very much, Darren Bergman, DA MP and Chairperson of the Home Away from Home Initiative.